Have you ever heard of the TOEIC test? If you live in Japan, you have probably heard this word many times. Many Japanese students and workers study English for the TOEIC test. But have you ever wondered why TOEIC is so popular in Japan? And what exactly is the TOEIC test? In this video, we are going to answer these questions. We'll talk about what TOEIC is, how the test works, and why so many people in Japan take it. Let's get started. What is TOEIC? First, let's talk about what TOEIC is. TOEIC stands for the Test of English for International Communication. It is a test that measures your English communication skills. There are several TOEIC tests, but today we are going to focus on the TOEIC listening and reading test. As the name suggests, this test measures two skills, listening and reading. It does not test speaking or writing. So, what does the test actually look like? The listening section takes about 45 minutes and has 100 questions. After that, you have 75 minutes to answer 100 reading questions. In total, you answer 200 questions in about 2 hours. And there is one interesting thing about the test. You don't pass or fail the TOEIC test. Instead, you get a score. Your score shows how well you can understand English. Why do people take TOEIC? Now, you may be wondering, why do so many people take this test? One important reason is jobs. In Japan, many companies use TOEIC scores when they hire new employees. Some companies also use TOEIC scores when they decide who should be promoted or move to another position. This means that a good TOEIC score can be useful for your career. For many students, TOEIC is also important when they look for their first job. Imagine that two students have similar grades and similar experience. If one student has a TOEIC score of 800, that can show the company that the student has a certain level of English ability. This is one reason why TOEIC has become so popular in Japan. But there is another important reason. TOEIC scores are easy to understand. If you say, I have a TOEIC score of 750, people can quickly understand what you mean. A number makes your English ability easier to compare and understand. And that is a very useful feature when companies are looking for new employees. Easy to use for companies. So far we've talked about two reasons why TOEIC is popular in Japan. One is that companies can use TOEIC scores when they hire people. The other is that TOEIC scores are easy to understand. But there is another reason. The TOEIC test is the same for everyone who takes it. This makes it easier for companies to compare people's English skills. For example, imagine that a company has 100 job applicants. It is not easy to check everyone's English ability by talking to each person for a long time. But if applicants have TOEIC scores, the company can use those scores as one piece of information. This saves time and makes the hiring process easier. TOEIC is useful for English learners. TOEIC is not only useful for companies, it can also be useful for people who are learning English. Why? Because TOEIC gives learners a clear goal. For example, someone may say, I want to get 700 points. Then, they have a clear goal to work toward. They can study English every day and take the test again later. If their score goes up, they can see their progress. This can give them motivation to continue studying. In this way, TOEIC can be like a goal or a long journey. You may not reach your final goal right away, but you can check your progress along the way. Is a high TOEIC score enough? However, there is something important that we should remember. A high TOEIC score does not mean that you can do everything in English. Remember that the TOEIC listening and reading test measures listening and reading. It does not directly measure your speaking or writing skills. For example, you may get a high score on the test but still feel nervous when you speak English. You may understand an English email very well, but speaking with a foreign customer can be difficult. This is why we should not think that a TOEIC score is the same as total English ability. A TOEIC score is one way to measure your English ability. It is not the whole picture. So why is TOEIC so popular? So let's go back to our original question. Why is TOEIC so popular in Japan? There are several reasons. First, many companies recognize TOEIC scores. Second, the score gives people a simple way to show their English ability. Third, learners can set a clear goal and check their progress. And finally, the test is easy to use as a common measure of English ability. For these reasons, TOEIC has become a part of English education and business life in Japan. For many people, TOEIC is more than just a test. It can be a goal, a way to show their skills, and sometimes a step toward a new career. Is TOEIC popular outside Japan? You may be wondering if TOEIC is popular only in Japan. The answer is no. The TOEIC test is used in many countries around the world. Companies and schools in different countries use TOEIC scores for different purposes. However, TOEIC is especially well known in Japan. In Japan, many people start studying English because they want to get a higher TOEIC score. Some people even set a goal of getting 600, 700, or 800 points. And some serious English learners aim for 900 points or more. Is studying for TOEIC worth it? So, is it worth studying for the TOEIC test? I think the answer is yes. Studying for TOEIC can help you build basic English skills. For example, you can learn many useful words and expressions. You can also practice listening to English and reading English quickly. These skills can be useful outside the test too. You may need them when you read an email, watch a video, or talk to someone in English. But remember one important thing. Don't study only for the score. Try to use the English you learn in real situations too. If you study for TOEIC and use English in your daily life, you can improve both your test score and your real English skills. So, what do you think about the TOEIC test? Have you ever taken the TOEIC test? If you have, what was your score? And if you haven't taken it yet, what score would you like to get? Let me know in the comments. And if you're studying English, I hope this video gave you some useful information. Remember, a test score is important, but it is not everything. The most important thing is to keep learning and keep using English. Thanks for watching. Keep studying, keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.